So can we make this a little bit practical? So you and I both believe that art is a gift, that it's something that you share with the world, regardless of accolades or compensation. But let me ask you this. Is it okay to make money off of your art? Is it okay to be successful as an artist?
I think that being an artist makes you successful because the connection economy places demands on people who create stuff we want. So if you say to the world, I have created this piece of art, but you can't see it unless you pay me money, then you will fail. On the other hand, if you are generous with your art and connecting with your art and making a difference to people around you, then what happens is a line forms outside the door with people who will pay you money to give them more of it, for you to do it on demand for them. And so when we see people who range from people who are doing pottery to people who are running classes to people who are doing industrial consulting, over and over again, the most successful people in every one of those fields now are people who have followed this path. I'll pick Shepard Fairey as an example. He was so intent on giving away his public graffiti art that he got arrested 30 times doing it. But now, an original piece of Shepard Fairey work costs $50,000 or more. And that's because if you want it, you have to pay for it. Yet he's still generously sharing the ideas behind it. If we contrast the corporate created boy band that is going to disappear in a day with the musician who can't help but perform and play any chance she gets, that's where an Amanda Palmer comes from, right? That Amanda raised over $1 million on Kickstarter, not because she needed or wanted $1 million, but because her generosity and her relentlessly showing up to change us created enough demand that she could make a fine living doing it.
So you obviously believe in this generosity mindset. I know you're not the only one doing this, but I think you're a notable example of building a tribe through generosity. I mean, I was just going back over the last several books that came out, and every book that I could find, there was something that you gave away. And sometimes it was the whole book, or it was, with tribes, it was access to this membership community for, all of the early adopters. Seth, where does that idea of being generous come from?
Well, again, I want to make a distinction, because if you're doing this to create financial success, it almost never works. The reason that I charge for any of the stuff I do is because it enables my partners to take risks to put things into the world, and it enables us to pay for paper and stuff. Yeah. But, if you look at my blog, if my blog is a careful plan to get you to buy a $14 book, that's pretty much of a waste, because it took me 7 years of doing it every single day to be able to make $1 royalty from you. It hardly pays. I do this because it's a privilege. And so the intent when I'm working is, how can I put this idea into the world and make connections for people in a way that scales, that doesn't drive me crazy, and that I'm proud of when it's over. And if along the way it sells some books, that's just fine. But it's not a gimmick.
Do you ever struggle? Does the artist in you ever struggle with the entrepreneur in you, the person who wants to create a gift for the world versus the person who may see opportunities?
Oh, yeah, it does. And it's less than it used to be. I mean, I struggled at the verge of bankruptcy for 7 or 8 years. And it's still, deep down, if you cut me open, inside is the struggling entrepreneur who's sure that tomorrow he has to go back to eating macaroni and cheese, which is a problem because I no longer eat macaroni or cheese. And I fight that in that when I keep track, if you said, what was 3 years ago like, or what was 7 years ago like, what were the highlights for you? I will never tell you, oh yeah, that was the day we sold 4,000 copies of something, or that was the day some business plan worked. No, I will say that was the day I looked into the eyes of somebody who made a connection, or that was the day I realized that I could help this cause or that organization or that person by connecting two dots that they hadn't been able to connect.